had a really awful manager, decided, nah, this isn't for me. Thought, okay, so what am I good at? I'm good at fixing people's computers. So I decided I was going to fix people's computers, and it was as simple as that. Picked a name, Uber. I didn't really think of it as a serious business. Put an ad in the paper, got a few jobs, the business grew, moved out of the basement where we started into an office which was smaller than the basement. It grew a little bit more, and at the time, there was only one option for broadband, and that option was Telecom's 256K, 10 gig, $112 a month. And as one of the more sizable computer places, burned through that in 2 days. And then we were stuck at dial-up speed. So we ended up getting a commercial pipe that was horrendously expensive, 20 times the price of what we were paying, but no cap. Went, okay, how can we afford this? And wireless was starting to emerge as a way to get it out. So we just put an antenna on the roof and started reselling it to a couple of people down the same street and in the CBD. The rest of it actually just purely happened by chance. There was a guy called Martin Levy over from the States. Can you do it? Checked out our connection, which was one of the best in Whangarei at the time, and we sort of thought, well, there's no reason why we can't do it. Ended up building into Tanguahini, which is a valley some 50 k's away from where we're based. Other valleys had other people contacting us, and that was in 2005, and since then it's just grown. It was not what we set out to do. 2009, so quite a while later, the growth was really slow. It was really hard to convince people that we're local, we're small, but we're better than DSL. We had maybe 200 customers at the time in the rural areas. It was ticking along. It wasn't fantastic, it wasn't bad. It really sort of kicked off, and I went, I can make something of this. Something went off in the brain and went, well, there are a lot more people that can't get anything. How can we reach them? How can we make this a viable business? At the time, the equipment was costing sort of $700 per unit to go on the people's roof. So it wasn't economically viable on a large scale. So we started addressing those things, and as we've addressed those things over the last few years, it's become more and more viable and more successful. We got really, really lucky when the government regulated telecom, and all of a sudden it was fast as your line could go. And what happened when that occurred was that people at the end of the line, very long roads and whatnot, suddenly couldn't get broadband anymore. So that created a massive opportunity because we had already built the infrastructure into those areas, and we were there. All they had to do was give us a phone call. We built into the Hokianga, into Kaitaia, so we really expanded our reach north, come down to Parkeri, so just outside of Auckland really. There was just an increased realization of what we were doing, sort of an appreciation of what we were doing. I come from a fairly poor family growing up. I've lived a less than awesome life at times, and Uber's my way out of that. There are other people like me who now work for me. I've seen them go through the same struggle. It's really exciting to help them get out of it and lead them in a direction that'll help them grow, but also for me to grow and achieve my objectives, owning a home, having a family, all of that good personal stuff.